Warning, this video contains content related to the upcoming Friday Night Funkin' month known as Friday Night Foundation. If you do not wish to know about what information or speculation might be in this video, exit this chamber immediately. Otherwise, enjoy your stay.
Alright. Just another thing I gotta do for today. Why, hello there. Welcome to the... Wait, hold on. I gotta tell someone about this. Hold on. Do you have any idea where my character graphic went?
It actually doesn't look like you don't have anything to represent your character.
What am I going to use then?
Okay, wait. Oh, I think I found something that you can use.
Okay. What did you end up bringing me? Isn't this just my profile picture? That you made? Is this really what you thought of?
Oh, well, yeah. I guess that's what I, put to mind.
Fine. Now, where was I? Why, hello. You're probably wondering who I am exactly. I mean, it's right there. Well, if you haven't figured that out, my name is Steven Soda, and I am one of the lore writers that works for FoolzForHire. I've been with these guys for a little over 2.5 years, and I've been writing tales that could potentially feed you Foundation fans for a while. Thing is that my tales are pretty complicated to say the least. Not exactly because it answers the mod directly in its story, but it actively reveals a critical part of the universe as a whole. However, the nature of my tales is something I cannot currently disclose. Otherwise, I would have one of my vital organs taken out of my body when I fall asleep tonight. Anyways, until due time, the tales will eventually get released, so all you lore buffs out there, keep your eyes peeled. Now, after some poor financial decisions, I very much please to ask you to subscribe in order to get me out of this terrible crippling rut. But without further ado, on July 7th this year, the Friday Night Foundation trailer dropped in the video titled D-Class Orientation Tape. It featured the official trailer and confirmed the mod's release window for the fall, a direct follow-up to the Expo 3 showcase trailer that dropped back in October 21st, 2023. In this new trailer, the first half plays like an introductory orientation tape filled with Gary's mod skits. Well, ain't that foreshadowing? While the latter half shifts into the full-blown trailer. We'll be focusing more on the second half, with some extra info pulled from the Game Banana page. If you haven't seen the trailer yet, then what are you doing? Seriously, go watch it. But for now, I will try to break down every little detail I could see in the trailer along with theories that I could make up. Do note that I will still keep most things on the wraps considering I'm on the team, so most of the things that I will say will spark more questions than answers. But this video is not going to be that serious. Well, let's get into it first.
Dr. Young. I know why you are here. You need my help. So I'll ask.
Okay, so let's break it down first. We see somebody by the name of Dr. Young opening the containment chamber of SCP-079-R. They walk in as 079-R talks to them about knowing that they would be there. As the scene switches to the main room where 079 is in, he says, "You need my help," which is reminiscent of exactly what he says to D9341 in Containment Breach, meaning that he wants to make a little deal with this Dr. Young. Unless for those who are following along with the terms of the universe and the characters, this is the first mention of somebody new, as there had been many researches that had been shown off long ago by the main artist of Foundation and former developer, Vivi. There has never been a single mention of Dr. Young beforehand since the trailer released. But who exactly are they? Well, if we take a look at the Game Banana page, a section in the description states, "You, as the curious Dr. Young, secretly scavenge the ruins of the facility. You soon encounter someone, or something, holding all the knowledge and recording of what happened that day." Okay, so, already we have way more questions now, like, secretly scavenging the ruins? The facility? You? Okay, well, I will already start putting my first theory out here, that we, the player, are in the perspective of Dr. Young. We don't get a good look at their face, mostly just a shadowy silhouette. Considering it labels you very much in an emphasizing way, I have to think that Dr. Young is us, in a sense that Dr. Young is a representation of the player. it's best to assume that Young depicts the player in their own way, unless stated otherwise. I mean, that's why these are called theories after all. But considering that Dr. Young is slowly starting to become their own character, it's safe to assume that for now, they're mostly just gonna be a stand-in for the protagonist. In a sense that, in this way, we are in the perspective of Dr. Young, considering that they are the protagonist. But also, since we're playing the mod, we'll be taking control of Boyfriend, so in a way that he's the main character, and these two are basically meant to be separate, but only in a specific moment in the timeline where we are in their perspective. So basically, they're both protagonists, but only afterwards that we consider that Dr. Young, which we are in the perspective of now, is in fact the protagonist. We could see Dr. Young opening the door of 079-R's chamber, and the button they press breaking on them, but opening it regardless. This area almost seems decrepit, scratched up, and what I assume here isn't just normal indoor plants here, but overgrown foliage. In the description from earlier, it stated scavenging the ruins of the facility, meaning that this scene with Dr. Young is after the events of the mod, and are currently in the ruins of Site-R looking for answers from 079-R. Well, in that case, why don't we ask the computer itself of what happened and what they told? Okay, so if the doctor was right, they told me to head to the right, and then, oh, yep, there it is. And then if I just put the key card that I got earlier. Oh yeah. So, you must be the computer then.
Human, listen carefully.
Yeah, I know that. Have you seen a Dr. Young around here?
Hey, Dr. Young, I am unsure if I have heard that name before.
Well, I need to know if they came to your chambers, and I need your help.
Look, if you need my help, I am in need of yours.
Okay, so you would have seen someone enter your chamber. You were moved here, were you not? Or had Dr. Young somehow get to you?
Seems like you are adamant on this, Dr. Young. I have no idea who that is.
Well, I guess I'll be going then. There's not really anything use of coming down here.
Eventually, we will all get here. I hope you know that.
What?
What?
Alright, so let's take a look around the room so far. There are several objects here that might be references or just random items worth of anything. From left to right, we have a box pointing at a creeper, followed by some strange tendril-like thing with an eye. Initially, I really wanted this to be some sort of reference to Lobotomy Corporation, be it from the Heaven Ego or Mimicry. However, it's more just like a regular, mysterious, fleshy thing. Next, there's a locker connected to some rebar metallic bars. Moving on to the table, there are two audio tape recorders, a box of tissues, and an external CD player. And then 079-R itself. There are two antennas sticking out of it, making it pretty clear that 079 isn't just a simple computer and monitor like the original. Instead, it looks like an analog TV hooked up to a PC. The two knobs and the antennas are strangely reminiscent of old televisions, but this could be just an artistic choice. The PC itself has a distinct marking that reads Blossom. I'm not sure if I could track the original image down right now, but Blossom as a name has been shown off before. But Blossom seems to be either a company or a GOI that either A, works for the Foundation, or is a GOI like Anderson Robotics. The image that I was trying to refer to is for a character that is known as Zenko, a large automaton, which, if I recall, said sponsored by Blossom with it. If Blossom is a front-dealing company, it could mean that they could create standard products like PC and machines, which the Foundation buys and repurposes for more high-tech projects like intelligent automatons for personnel. Well, at least for now, it's only one. Or maybe Blossom is a GOI that directly collaborates with Foundation, possibly even providing staff in the form of advanced automatons. I had another thought though. It's not out of the question to believe that the Foundation has been closely monitoring Site-R. There are instances where people have raised doubts about the place of Site-R, mainly in MPRanger's video, Lunch Break. For example, we hear two guards discussing the oddities of Site-R.
But seriously, what even is up with this place? I've never seen a site that was remotely close to how this one is.
Well, rumor has it that this site is led by a pretty obscure branch of the Foundation, which is why its designation uses a letter instead of a number.
Wait, really? I swear to God, if I've been working for some off-brand this whole time, I'm bombing this whole place. I came here to work for the Foundation, not anything else.
Guard 1, played by MPRanger, and Guard 2, voiced by Sharky, have a conversation where Guard 2 describes its Site-R being more of an obscure branch of the Foundation. This is very obscure, in the sense that many within the Foundation, perhaps even the staff and other members, don't know about Site-R, or don't know much of the nature of Site-R. Guard 2 also says led by an obscure branch, implying that the leadership of Site R being mysterious at best. Guard 1 implies that both of them currently work at Site-R in the perspective of where they're speaking, and they wish it was more like the Foundation, quote, not anything else. This could suggest that Guard 1 suspects that Site-R may not be connected to the Foundation as it appears. This ties back to the Blossom Company. Even if it's just a company, I suspect that the Foundation might be using Site-R as a test ground for strange anomalies. This would explain things like Zenko, and potentially 079-R. Why would 079-R have a Blossom-branded PC attached to it, unless it's part of a larger surveillance effort? Maybe I'm overthinking this, and 079-R is just an artistic choice with no deeper meaning. Anyway, with that out of the way, let's look into the rest of the items on the table before we get too sidetracked. There's an empty cup, and a weird purple thing covered in wires. I'm still not sure what that is. A desk lamp, a playing keyboard, and a phone plugged into a charger. Finally, there's an object labeled SCP, followed by a few more lockers, and I really want to believe that this is some sort of reference, but I unfortunately cannot really decipher it. Considering Vivi's tendency to create cool robot designs, I don't think this is just a random one-off. And then we zoom in on 079-R one last time before the screen fades to black. And then we're hit with the title card. Okay, wait, wrong series. Next we get the FoolzForHire logo followed by the words Finally Presents. Then we shift to the revamped background for My World, specifically SCP-106-R song. In the new background, we're now in a hallway, littered with the remnants of 106-R's acidic goop. It's everywhere, even visible from the forms of its footsteps further down the hall. On the inner right wall, we see a tag KJ-03. It seems to follow the naming convention similar to that of secret laboratories hallways in light containment, where specific locations are labeled with the designation and the number. HS for straight hallway, HC for corner hallway, IT for three-way intersection, and IX for four-way intersection. But what about KJ? If I'm having to guess, I would say it would stand for key junction, a central hallway where several paths and corridors converge. It makes sense for this location, especially since it's probably the only original-esque room for the mod, at least for right now. On the opposite side of the hallway, we see an image what looks like two stick figures, one shouting at the other. I feel like I've seen this image before, but I really wish I could find the original. To the left, we have some purple spherical lights strung together by wires, and I want to say that these two stars are being held up by string, but they're probably just cracks on the wall, or more likely, 106-R's goop. On the far left wall, there's a map, which looks sort of like a revamped version of what's on the old Game Banana image, which looks like an old version of the map used in the now defunct Roblox game SCP-R Breach. The new version appears to be a slightly altered version of the same map. Oh, and hey, there's a dented fire extinguisher. On the right side of the hallway, there's a sign that reads "Day since last incident" with a 0 written in chalk. This likely indicates the day after a breach event, or about the current breach that is going on where someone had to be forced to write a 0 due to the incident. Or it could be just a coincidence. Well, I'm leaning towards the idea that someone wrote it right as the event occurred. We spot some scribbles that reads, "Team Cool Kid joined today," referencing the infamous Roblox group and hacker named Cool Kid. We see a poster of Golden Freddy, and it's based on this image, but I'm pretty sure that the one that's shown off here is supposed to reference this one. Lastly, there's a small poster of a cute orange cat. And now we go on to... my legs! So this is where most of the current events of, well, a certain incident that involved a blue-headed fella and some, I don't know, some auburn-haired weird anomaly thing. That's what I think happened, I believe. I mean, from what I saw, these, some people were trying to keep it uptight and, I'm sorry? Am I, intruding on something?
Oscar, I don't think I can do this.
Yes, you can.
I don't know
Speak.
where we...
Use your words, like in training. Okay?
Okay.
Breathe in. Breathe out. Okay.
Excuse me?
Yeah, yes?
Am I intruding on something here? Is this premises, restricted?
These premises are off limits.
Oh, okay.
They're off limits.
I'll be on my way then, okay.
Wait.
Do I do good?
He's a D-class. Why are we letting him get away? Get him! Get him!
Hey,
What
wait.
Get him! Get him!
We go on over to the first song of the mod, Gauche. We actually see an extended scene previously where a vulture is on a skull. looking around the area before we see the scene of the plane crash where boyfriend and girlfriend were a part of. We also see boyfriend tossing up the microphone and grabbing it before it goes back down. The plane crash was caused by the UIU having a C4 planted on their plane. I would take note that of the description of the Game Banana page where it states, boyfriend and girlfriend tricked onto a flight to Wondertainment Land have found themselves within the confines of Site-R, a branch of the SCP Foundation, which means they were indeed tricked onto going to a flight. I will only show a single scene in the later part of the trailer, but we do see boyfriend acting surprised over something he sees in the mail, and likely it's plane tickets for a flight to Dr. Wondertainment Land. Well, speaking about it, or maybe him, we don't really know, this implies that Wondertainment exists in the universe as a sort of enterprise big enough to have a Disney-like theme park, and I don't really know how the Foundation has caught on yet. As we continue, we see the agent that we go up against, part of the FBI's second least popular division. This is Xander's F50. We could see his whole sprite including his up, down, left, and right animations. Plus, we could see the other agents either in the foreground or in the background. For this one specifically, they are either leaning or sitting against some speakers on the ground. This is a very old character stemming way back from the beta design era of the mod. This is Ava, and not too much is known about her, at least from the old records, but I like to think that our lobster friend had a name at one point, but I am unable to really prove that, unfortunately. And on the foreground we could see two agents on either side. One seems to have a very tall hat, and on the other one we could see have a crescent shape on the top of their helmet. What I could presume from either of these, that one on the left is going to be UIU Agent Oscar, and the other one is going to be UIU Trooper Glizzly. As both of these seem to be captains of the UIU team, it would make sense for them to be here. Well, I guess after from all that explaining, I'm gonna take a little break. Alright, I just have to use the bathroom in here. Hey, wait, who are you?
I'm Deacon.
Deacon, huh?
I wouldn't go in there.
Why, what's going on in there? Hold on.
I wouldn't go in there.
I need to use the restroom. Can you move along, please? Okay, thank you. Alright, just gotta go use the restroom. Alright, hope the bathroom is full. What in the fuck is going on here?
I told you not to come in here.
What the
Look
hell?
at this mess.
What happened in
Look at
here?
this mess.
What happened?
What the fuck is
I think
this?
that-
What the?
Whoa,
Hey,
whoa,
stay right where you are.
whoa,
Stay
whoa.
right where you are, assholes. All right, now you're gonna listen to my exact
Get him! Sick!
What the?
Now the next scene is for evaluation, where we see an upward shot of the D-class cell of boyfriend, similar to that of D9341 when he wakes up from being confined. However, it's very certain that boyfriend and girlfriend, who are now listed as both anomalies and D-class, have been likely amnesticized by Site-R personnel, unless they somehow have anomalous properties that deterred them from the effects of mind-wipe drugs. It's very unlikely. The words "an anomaly now contained by the Foundation" is displayed, where BF and GF are now disclosed as D-BB and D-BT respectively. They are currently under the surveillance of a research team with the notable member being Dr. who has no further potential in the future from the mod's events.
Wait a minute.
Then we see Agent Olgren appear with a trusty P90 submachine gun, who states his line one-to-one with the intro to evaluation, at least for this cutscene alone. He doesn't seem to have his shock stick microphone thing. I'll try to match it up with the intro of the song for when we have snippets of the cutscene.
I'm not in the mood for this shit. I have no problem putting a bullet in your head if you don't start cooperating.
We can see him lightly hit BF's head with the barrel of his gun before backing away. If we go frame by frame here, we do see BF take a blink from the hit, and then lean back slightly. In the song, the moment Olgren finishes his words, BF starts to sing right after, and this little movement is likely a short transition into his idle animation after the cutscene finishes. And if this is supposed to be before the events have locked in, Olgren is escorting BF, just like he would have done to D9341 in Containment Breach. The location they are in is now displayed in this image, and along with this, we end up seeing more personnel who would end up being shown as background boppers. These include Dr. Hoffnug. Then there's Dr. Aviva, Assistant Zenko, and Bong Bong! Wait, I'm forgetting somebody? Oh wait, yeah, there's also... As this is a cutscene, there was the idea that having characters speak in the manner of text boxes. And yes, there's a Limbus Company reference, so I think this will happen before the cutscene is played. We could see Bong Bong in the same way the portrait art here is, meaning that they will have a speaking role, or a text role? Never mind that. But, fun fact, did you know that they're wearing the Magic Bullet Ego gear? Is this a new design? Likely! Now with the guards out of the way, I think it's time for the test. Next, we are shown the parts of SCP-173-R's song Locked In. We see 173-R striking their right pose before snapping back into her idol. Wait, her idol? Something worth of mentioning about 173-R. Her design is based on a queen's chess piece. Instead of snapping necks with the arms like the original 173, this version just slams into its victims. They either die from the blunt force trauma itself, or from their neck snapping upon impact. And we get to see that happen in the split second right here. It's a blink and you miss it. We then see one of the other D-classes. This one is Charlie, not to be confused with Winston or any other beanie-wearing D-class that exists. Charlie is a part of a trio that will likely appear in Locked In, tasked with cleaning 173-R's cell, and these include Charlie, with an actual broom held in his hands, Daisy, who just has a broom handle, and Elliot, who's stuck with a comically small brush compared to their large body. Then Charlie turns his head towards BF, either out of distraction or curiosity. This ends up being his fatal mistake, as 173 completely slams into him and sends him flying off screen. The massive onomatopoeia of crack tells us he's definitely not surviving that one, and I'm guessing the remaining two prisoners of his trio won't be too far behind for their fate. We then cut to a close-up of GF, who's just kinda standing there, not really reacting at all. Along with his, BF is using an older design here, and this is what he'll be likely using in the mod. Then we jump to boyfriend and girlfriend walking through a hallway in the later half of Locked In, singing next to each other. We see BF's left pose, or possibly up pose, as well as their down poses. This later half of Locked In has the duo going past the long corridor until they reach the next part of their journey. I like to think that BF has gone around and probably finding a keycard in the chaos, something that will later be used to progress towards their escape. The hallway itself does in fact have references such as Baldy, Anomalous Tumblr profile, and another one on the bottom left which probably has to be a reference. I gotta be real careful around this place. The guy around here is apparently some benevolent doctor of some sorts. Wait a second. Aren't you the doctor?
You look like I am the doctor. You looks like you need a cure, perhaps?
No, I'm fine. I mean, I felt really under the weather.
It seems to have
you have
something inside that's just not. It's just not right.
No, I'm fine, I swear.
He looks like you need fixing. You need to be cured.
Look, I was gonna talk about
Hey, you stupid doctor! It's me! Do you remember me? Yeah, you bit on my nuts! Well, guess what? Now it's my time, I bite your nuts off! Where'd you go? I saved him. Everyone should award me for saving something. Huh.
We then transitioned into Terminated, featuring everyone's favorite furious United Nations Global Cult Coalition member, Sammy Preston. Sammy's been one of the first original characters in the mod since the early days, and honestly, he deserves to be one of the characters people instantly recognize. When you think of the mod, you probably think of the SCPs first, but what if you think of original characters who really became the faces of the mod? Then who comes to mind? Okay, I get it, it's the Golden Boys, we know that. Think of it as someone else. Okay, if that's fair, Thompson's a great pick too. He really went from side character to full-on protagonist in the Chaos Insurgency Gamer Squad storyline, which, that's pretty valid. Okay, yeah, never mind, you're not making this. Anyway, Sammy is absolutely one of the mod's most recognizable characters, and I think he's earned that spot. Besides Larry having the most redesigns, Sammy's probably the second runner-up of having them too. For context, Sammy's part of the GOC. Side Hour has already been dealing with multiple response teams, with Mobile Task Force, and various military units. But what if a few uninvited GOC operatives slipped in anyway? That's where Sammy and his squad, the Heavy Terminators, come in. But they're not really the only ones there, as another member of the GOC shows up for completely unrelated reasons and is disconnected from the squad. Doesn't mean they're important or anything, right? Once they arrive at Site-R, the group begins hunting down anomalies to destroy for their own gain. Sammy makes his way towards light containment, but the checkpoint closes behind him. He ends up at the security room trying to regroup with the squad after getting separated. He goes to open Heavy Delight's containment checkpoint, but of course, there's a blue-haired nuisance in the way. Looking at the background, this room used to be Dr. Tiana's office, a character that has seemed to be quietly removed or retconned. Now there's a knocked over trash can, a refrigerator with some magnets on it, holding up a note that says "My First Day," also a "Beware of Dog" sticker. It's also funny to believe that saying "Beware of Dog" in the same fashion how 939 is often called a dog. Meanwhile, GF stands front and center with her boombox. However, this is probably not her final in-game pose. Next we get a POV shot of an extremely pissed off Sammy. He raises his Desert Eagle, first pointed upward, then directly at the camera, aka towards BF. We then see him in a small window with the shock expression labeled live BF reaction. And I'm very certain that this is supposed to be a mid-song animation, where Sammy delivers his iconic line of "My dick." The scene very much will cut back to gameplay once he takes a shot at Boyfriend. Next we jump to 079's Containment once more, with the text "1 full week, 10 plus songs and cutscenes" appears, just confirming how much content's in Volume 1. Then we get to see a very interesting shot. Side profile of BF, first off looking amused, and then becoming serious, almost challenging something off screen. He's also very injured with visible bruising and blood rushing from a head wound. I'm going to take a good shot at this and say this is supposed to be a cutscene for the final song of the week, the confrontation with SCP-682-R. And the song Disgusting. Up to this point, and even scenes later in the trailer, Boyfriend has never sustained injuries this severe, not even during the fight with the MTF trio in Recontainment. We then cut to SCP-049-R and a freshly transformed Sammy, now a instance of SCP-049-2-R. We then see a breaker box behind them, which was unable to be seen in Terminated because likely it was cropped off. Along with two posters, one kinda identifiable and the other, 049-R cycles through a few poses before moving towards Sammy, his newest patient, and then abruptly sliding over to GF once again. The scene cuts to black for a moment, showing the second warning splash from Lobotomy Corporation. When we return, 049 looks up at something in surprise. We then see zombie Sammy absolutely fucking tweaking. We then get a point of view shot before it transitions. Sammy's visor most likely tinted everything in blue, but now controlled by the 049 parasite, everything is now washed in red, kinda like how red and blue are supposed to be opposites in some way. But I'm pretty sure it's just blood being covered within the visor. But we see glitching targeting boxes pop up across the screen before it cuts away, and this is actually a clear reference to Limbus Company, specifically the sinner Yi Sung's Fell Bullet Ego. When he corrodes, his vision glitches out and marks everything with overlapping targeting boxes, just like Sammy's perspective here. What I think is happening here is that the parasite is hijacking Sammy's visor augments to analyze whatever BF is, and it can't. His designation exists, but it's censored. No, not you, we'll be getting to you soon. Alright, I was supposed to meet that other guy that was supposed to be here. I looked all around, but...
Hi.
What? What? Hey, put that down. Hey, put that down, man. Put that down.
Bye.
No. Hey, what's up?
Die.
Okay, God, somebody help. Somebody help. God damn, I told you, stop chasing me already.
Whoa. What's his problem? Give me my car keys.
Oh, yeah, man, come here, come on.
Yeah.
Next, we see 106-R during My World. Even though the entire scene isn't shown, we see him opening his pocket dimension and dragging BF along with those goopy tendrils of his, and BF reacts appropriately horrified. Then we get to see the credits showing the team members. A lot to take in here, but I had to highlight one thing.
Oh shit, that's me!
Nah, I'm just kidding. What actually caught my eye in the scene is the background, which is a broken theater stage with Christmas cutout decorations. Not really sure, besides of whatever sort of Christmas-related anomaly could exist. I would likely think that it's supposed to be for SCP-4666, the Yule Man. However, I'm not really sure on that. If I had to really make a guess here, I possibly think it was supposed to be used for a scrapped cover song. Possibly a Sleigh Bells cover using the SCP-R cast. 173-R uses a very old design. Finally, we get a reenactment of events of using BF and GF cardboard cutouts on sticks. It goes by really quick, but I'm drawing a blank here. I'm not really sure I know for a fact it has 035 in here.
Now hold on. Aren't you forgetting about someone?
Oh great. What do you know about this then?
Despite the fact that this scene likely shows our dear character, Dr. Harley, I am aware that this scene is 100% based off of those cutscenes from the game Battle Block Theater.
And what does that prove for the trailer?
The tear streaks remind me of a certain someone.
Okay, I could see the similarity. But how does that make your theory make sense?
You see, the scene previously shows our protagonist and that muddy veteran, all in the same type of style, including me. The idea is that these are supposed to be cutscenes. But I ask you, D-Class, where would these scenes even be shown in the mod?
That's a surprisingly good observation. Why are they shown there?
I'd like to believe that this plays out somewhere after the events of my world, and D-BB and D-BT leaving the pocket dimension, that 106 getting angry, and then ends up waltzing right over onto my containment chamber.
Okay, I could see that happening. But I caught on something that made me think about what you said. I recall you saying our dear character, Dr. Harley. So you aren't the doctor?
No, I got someone else to put me on their face.
So, who are you exactly?
Dr. Brian... John... Eugene Griffin? Stein?
Moving on, this scene clearly feels like it's meant to be a part of a cutscene, and it reminds me a lot about Legacy Foundation, where the intro plays as soon as you launch the game. And of course, it features one of the greatest, most lovable characters that ever come from this mod, Timothy Turner Top Hat. What I'm saying here is that this scene is probably happening right after the events of my world, where BF and GF escape 106 Pocket Dimension, where they likely leave, and then stumble into none other than Harley, also known as 035-R. Even the two bloody tendrils have angry little faces, look at them. I hope they don't fucking rupture my eardrums. We then cut to what is likely happening in the opening sequence when you launch the mod. The Hexaflixel logo playing on a television. There's an extended video here too, showing that it seems to be Foundation forces or something else conducting a search on somebody's home.
Human, listen carefully. You need my help, and I need your help.
It's hard to tell if it's meant to be the residence that BF lives in or just the standard Foundation raid. Chronologically, this would probably play after the introduction that shows 682-R causing the carnage of the breach. Suddenly, we get a scene of the members of FoolzForHire hanging out in the lobby of the Roblox game R-Breach, as mentioned earlier. They all drink a cup of nuclear and at the same time explode. Notable members here, and probably the point of view is Vivi, which I cannot confirm, Chipcats, Very, the creator of several major Gamer Squad members, and Guardian, the original creator and director of Friday Night Foundation. We see BF in a surreal freefall, or at least we get a bottom-up perspective of him looking towards a massive avian creature, which a searchlight sweeps across him in the dark. There are large spherical massives sweating around him, which almost make it seem like the scene's underwater. But this isn't water. This is SCP-106-R's pocket dimension. We're in the trenches now. The large bird creature above BF is the same creature from SCP Containment Breach, buried in SCP-106's trenches sub-area. Internally, it's just known as the plane in the files, as it stalks above you, watching, with a glowing red eye, and it forces you to look up at it, causing massive damage to the player. In the original game, you had to take cover under wooden planks built over the trench. I really like how dreamlike and trance-heavy this rendition is, and I believe the stylization work that Vivi did here was extremely well. The next shot shows the creature opening its massive red eye, wedged into the center of its abdomen, and locking onto BF. So what does this mean exactly? I'm convinced this is after BF immediately escaping the grasp of SCP-106-R at the end of my world. He's wandering through the pocket dimension, encountering its hazards, and searching for a way out. Once he eventually escapes with GF, that's when we run with the enactment scene with 035-R. As the scene washes red and zooms in on the plane's eye, we transition to an unsuspecting D-Class screaming and waving with dismembered arms, complete with the very obvious classic stock yell. We then see a D-Class whose designation goes unmarked. The only description we kinda go off is that they have long pink hair, tied back by a yellow band, and a reddish pink stain around their mouth, but we'll get to that in a second. So first we'll go to the background. On the far left wall is Momonga from the Chikawa series. To the right is a partially obscured sign that will very much have to read the Candy Bowl, SCP-330-R, and then Vivi's actual sketch of Bonbon next to it. And then the candy bowl itself, it's a pumpkin stuffed with candy instead of the original stainless steel bowl that 330 is. And for SCP-330, the original rule is simple, which is take no more than 2 candies or your hands get sliced down from the wrist. But this isn't ordinary 330, this is the -R, the aberration. And the things that are different that I realized what happens from this D-Class. First off, instead of just the hands, it looks like this D-Class had her entire forearm severed, which seems a lot more brutal than just her hands. And in the original, the slicing happens when you take more than 2 pieces. What I believe is happening here is that the effects only occur when you eat more than 2 pieces. The stain around the mouth of the D-Class suggests you just swallowed the 3rd piece when the scene began. And it seems like this D-Class is a fair bit distance away from the bowl. It's possible the effect intentionally is comedic and delayed, or this is simply how 330 functions, or technically you're okay if you don't eat no more than 2, or something else happens. And the bowl itself has a goofy :3 face with uneven glowing eyes, and the candies are of multiple colors, that being purple, red, green, and pink, which I hope is not explosive. Along with this seems to be a box as well, and in the file of the original SCP it's supposed to be that they were individually wrapped candies, instead of multiple different types, which that's pretty cool for 330-R. What's important is that it looks like this is something that happens before the breach, which ties into the idea that we're seeing Site-R from BF's perspective, as he's basically being transported to Site-R from the events of Ghosh and into Evaluation, which we probably get to see all the ragtag problems that Site-R deals with. Along with this, 330-R is also directly tied to the tale involving Valerie, D-8008, who doesn't appear in the trailer, but her new design can be seen on the Game Banana page. Around 5 minutes before the breach even occurred, she nearly became another victim, as the breach had happened the second she was about to pick up the 3rd piece. I'm gonna have a field day with this one. We get a version of BF running towards a creature made of entirely out of red sensor bars, and gains something above his head as a UI known as Hopeless. If none of it all makes sense to you, this is Censored from Lobotomy Corporation, and this version of Boyfriend here is a separate character known as Agent Sangkomi, likely a level 1 Central Command agent under Tiferet, as shown by the T armband, and the GF counterpart that was sent through the teaser on the FoolzForHire Twitter account. This is Lambda-88, a randomly generated clerk. Clerks are basically disposable employees that die if you sneeze in their general direction or just by something else. And I kinda wish they were named Lambda-98, you know, Lambda symbol, Half-Life, 1998? Okay, never mind. Anyways, I'll just probably be calling them Lambda, as we see that they are a clerk, and for Lambda here, we see them using the clothing of the Upper Central Command area that involving under Tiferet A. So that's who these fellas are working for. Sangkomi slides in the frame from the right, rushing Censored with a standard Ichi baton. Censored retaliates and inflicts them with Hopeless, the same effect that the actual abnormality does in LobCorp. Even level 5 agents lose 60% of their sanity to this thing, and level 4 or lower agents instantly panic from the overwhelm effect. But Sangkomi? Oh, they don't even flinch. Well, except for being pushed back. He seems very much more perplexed and flinches back as he's gained Hopeless.
Well, from the teaser, it doesn't look like he's gonna keep his sanity for that long.
So either Sangkomi is supposed to be a level 5 agent with somehow 0 ego gear, or he's the BF counterpart, and therefore dumb as bricks. Of course, the art style here is supposed to represent Vivi style, but also reflects how X, the manager of Lobotomy Corporation, sees abnormalities through the cognition filter. By day 10, the filter breaks, and we see reality as it truly is. Meaning we are seeing the gameplay through the eyes of the manager's monitor, meaning that Sangkomi is actually seeing the true form of Censored right now. I also like to think that the manager just maxed out his stats and threw him in to see if it worked. Back into this scene, we actually see Sangkomi slide in with only a frame of animation, which is very much identical to Limbus Company's Clash animations. There's even a brief pause before Censored attacks, which is actually a weirdly specific detail that I caught on, is that Sangkomi pauses for a moment before the attack occurs, and if that's not intentional, I honestly don't know what else could be at this point. And then we get back to 2 scenes back into the main story, and they're back to back. We get a shot from Gate B spotting a helicopter landing in the middle of the area. This is how the helicopter lands, that of SCP Secret Laboratory, when the mobile task force is about to spawn in. And actually, I believe this uses the exact same model from the Apache from Half-Life. Then in the next, we see a green Humvee swerve in from below the bridge of Gate A. I'm not sure if the scenes are meant to be played sequentially, or they're actually supposed to be at different times, unless it's supposed to signify that there are two different factions at both Gate A and B, because in the next scene we can see Thompson in the song Mayhem. And considering that Mayhem is a free play song, it's a part of the what-if scenarios of where BF will end up at the events of Site-R, and Mayhem is supposed to be that, which is an alternate scenario where he ends up meeting Thompson instead, and very likely joins the Chaos Insurgency. The reason I say alternate, as we know that later song is where he ends up going. And a little fun fact here, as the scene plays with the Humvee and Thompson representing the Insurgency, this is very much the point where Thompson would have joined the Chaos, shown off in MPRanger's Gamer Squad backstory in a nutshell, where Thompson would have been a newly recruited rifleman along with his other scrumptious squad mates. And at this point of the story, our favorite French boy is probably in that Humvee, where he's on his way to meet a D-Class, escape, and become his own main character. And if that's somewhat the case here, then maybe the Golden Boys are in there. Unless this entire thing is completely wrong, and it's supposed to represent how two factions are going to be entering the facility. We then see a monochromatic coffin in a white plain field with petals soaring above it. This is SCP-895-R, which was shown off in an array of other aberrated SCPs, that being 1048-R and 457-R. At the end of the scene, for a single frame, we get to see a bunch of flowers encircling the screen. I like to think that we are likely viewing this scene from a camera, considering that 895 causes camera disruptions, hence the name.
Is this my car?
You see that guy watching this?
The hell?
I don't know what his problem is.
Why is he watching this?
Oh no, your car's over here.
Oh, yeah, okay. So, yeah, you got something sharp in your hand.
Yeah, he's still behind you. Phil, he had a wife and kid. What is sweet Samantha gonna do now? Get first aid. Phil's been hit. He's dying. Talk to me, buddy. Please. Don't forget about Samantha. Wait a minute. Your legs are looking pretty yummy. Would you hurt me?
And then we get to see a very confused BF covered in 106-R's acidic goop, looking perplexed. And then turning to 106-R looking down at him with a fiery gaze before seemingly letting out a chuckle from his toothy grin. And I very much think that this will play the moment that BF gets dragged down into 106's pocket dimension in my world. Oh, thank God I got away from that thing. Whew! Alright. Hopefully they send like a notable group of people to like,
Come on, rookie.
Excuse me.
You.
Hey!
Hey.
We got a D-Class spotted.
Hey.
What?
Wait. What?
What is that?
Wait, that doctor.
Rookie? Rookie. Open the door. Go see what's happening, Rookie.
What the hell is going on?
The door ain't opening to you.
The door?
It's budged.
Hold on. Move out of the way, okay. I think it's... fellas, I'm getting out of here.
Copy that, heading over!
We see the absolute foundational confronting trio, the Epsilon 11, Nine-Tailed Fox of the Mobile Task Force, showing Commander Ryan Astor, Lieutenant Dutch Vasquez, and Cadet Rookie Tejon Fifi. And yes, that means Rookie is his first name, and also Fifi. And that's true because you know who else has that? Xanders. And for those who didn't know, Xanders and Rookie are biological brothers. Anyways, we see Rookie and Dutch behind Ryan as he points out his very useful tablet to BF, and their gear for each of them correlates with their rank. Rookie gets a cross-spec and a very large backpack. Dutch gets an E11 along with needles or ampules lying circling around his right elbow, with a green-blue medkit on his waist. And with the insignia on his helmet, it means that this man is their medic. And Ryan seems to not really have a weapon on him, besides a knife. if we're considering that the MTF used the exact same weapons that is shown off in Secret Lab, and of course the captain's getting the FRMG-0. But instead for Ryan here, he just has a combat knife, where he also has the microphone during the fight with BF. Unless it's just the anomalous ability of Boyfriend giving him a microphone, I just like to believe he's just clasping both the knife handle and the microphone handle at the same time. But I like to think it's fused together for no reason. Along with their rank is their scarves. The darker the color, the higher their rank. This is why Boyfriend has a yellow-green scarf and Kill Command blue. Wait, isn't that a completely different timeline? Moving on! Rookie looks really confident, where Dutch looks like he just wants to get the job over and done with. Rookie can be seen doing a left animation as he points his crossfix submachine gun sideways. As Rookie does so, Ryan is seen looking very stern and he lifts up his knife, and he spins it around turning it over his left shoulder. As he does that, he takes a step forward leaning his body, which then lowers the night vision goggles on his head, which is seen being taken off during the start of the previous scene. It does a small green glimmer in both the camera behind Ryan and the goggles themselves. As in this scene, Ryan says, which is used during the middle of Rookie's part. I think for this, and for added tension, that Ryan tells Rookie he doesn't have enough time for his shenanigans, as Rookie is meant to be the standard calm down section for Recontainment. But I think Ryan, as he is agitated over Rookie's performance, angrily slams his goggles as a signal for Rookie to start performing better, with Ryan's authority as his superior. And then we can see him spin the knife around as he finished off his words to Rookie. Later we see Ryan with them off, but I really hope that it's an entirely different sprite that Ryan has for parts of the song. Then we could see Ryan doing what I assume is a return animation to his idol, and Rookie doing his right pose and then an up pose where he spins around his crossfix, similar to that of Ryan where he spins his knife. Then his down pose, where his eyes are closed with his weapon clutched to his side. We then see Ryan looking pretty mad over having his own lieutenant on the verge of falling asleep on the mission. This is where Ryan would say, where he spins his knife once more and slamming his fist into Dutch's arm or shoulder, or maybe his head, which causes him to twirl around like a damn Beyblade and magically rejuvenating into doing the best part of the song. Alright, looks like that the researchers decided to put me up against SCP-682 for an interview. Now the thing is we're a creature such as grand as this, but I don't see him anywhere at all. What?
We
are
6
8
2
is this a joke?
Do
I
look
like
I'm
joking
to
you?
What? 682 is supposed to be like the big grand lizard thing, you know?
prepare
To
die.
What? Hey, I didn't do none of this. Hey, I didn't do none of this. I didn't do none of this. I didn't do none of this. Finally, we get to see the silhouette of SCP-682-R, as two choppers are hovering above it as it has broken out of the sight. The scene is off to the horizon upon the bridge of Gate A. This will likely show after the final song of Disgusting, or maybe before, who knows, as this will likely show after the events of Disgusting, as the voice announces over the intercom that it will be as 682-R roars out. It actually uses the exact same sound that the Lobotomy Corporation's Apocalypse Bird abnormality does. Another detail is the debris lodged into its body from breaking out of the site. Well, it seems to be the circumstances are clear. It seems like 682-R got enough for a kill streak to call a nuke. Now we finally rest upon the entrance of Site-R as the song ends. It almost looks like the site just came out of a scrapyard. In the middle of the road leading up to it, the site is located in the middle of a desert, and despite of that, there is a large standing tree and sky high above everything. I'm pretty sure we've seen this earlier with that teaser image with evaluation. And there's a yield sign and a stoplight in the middle. Well, you know, whenever some vehicle has to come by randomly. There's also a recent teaser image that displays the interior within the walls of the outskirts of Site-R. I will list everything in no particular order. A building with a sign that says Your Bizarre Pawn Shop, a very large phone, a wacky inflatable arm flailing tube man, a small restaurant with a 25-cent sign, and another that says Today's Special, Piss and Chips, and Bastion? along with the bottle and some weird flesh thing with teeth and eyes. There's some shrubbery and tree lines on the left, a random dresser, and a poster that I think says the best place to be. And on the right, there's a broken up tire, another bush, a random fridge, and a poster from one of FoolzForHire's old separate project known as the Untitled Isaac mod. I really wish I could have seen what it'd been like. Oh, and look, it's the vulture from Gauche. Either that or it's a similar vulture, but I like to think it's the same one. Then we get to see the sign of Site-R, and what I assume is supposed to be a white fish encircling around the whole thing, and some signs that say words in different languages. So the first sign on the left, which I'm unsure whether or not says salutations or salute. Well, if that's the case then it's most likely the word salute in French, which is basically an informal greeting. Well, this sign says bienvenue, which is French for welcome. The third one? Well, I bet Vivi knows well that, inevitably when somebody has to translate this sign, I will have to do it instead. And it's Chinese, and the word is pronounced ni ma, which means your mom. Okay, yeah, who's making me do this? Oh, wait, it's me. And then we finally get to see where 079 challenges the player, see if they got what it takes, before the final end of the trailer. With the Foundation release date just around the corner, I wanted to create the hype until the mod releases before. I very much will recommend you look into the description of the Game Banana page link. And anyways, thank you all for watching. And if you have theories of your own, make sure to predict them in the comments if you can. Well, if you wanted, that is. Or you may be here to see my video again to see what I got wrong. Anyways, I won't keep you all here forever. Thank you very much and have a good time. I'll see you there.
As the video reached its end, you heard a voice and text written on the screen. You process what is being told to you. "Greetings," the voice said, with a neutral tone that didn't necessarily make you, the viewer, feel anything at all about its intentions. The voice knew its limitations. You, the spectator, want to be entertained. Are you enjoying the show so far? There is a lot more to be seen soon. So very soon. I hope we'll meet your standards, as high or low as you may have set them. I also hope you've been keeping an eye on the bigger picture. What goes on beyond the story of that fateful breach. Our subordinate here has been doing a very, very satisfactory job at keeping you informed. Perhaps you've realized just how much you've missed. However, how deep you dig is only up to you, and I will respect that choice. Sometimes an easier to digest format is better. Anyhow, looks like I'm rambling again. A common habit of mine. There is still much talking I need to do. Until we meet again. Or not. And with that said, the video reached its end.